Patch time 734E. Eternal Shroud buff. Considering Glimmer Cape, Pipe, and Bloodstone all being, decently high up in the meta, Eternal Shroud just not a thing. So gotta give a little buff. Little nerf to Hanamitis to offset the double charges that they gave for it. And obviously, Hanamitis, Radiance, Battle Fury, I think all those items are like pretty value in a bigger map. So expect that to continue. Heart, big nerf. 100 more gold and 5 less strength. Boy, that's not a big nerf. Wait a minute. Wait, 4 weeks for 100 gold? What the fuck? Okay. Vladimir's armor +1. Okay, Vlad's doesn't really get seen too much. Helm of the Overlord. I mean, the thing is that the heroes that build Helm of the Overlord are still going to build it. So, I don't know if there was a problem with Vlad's. I mean, maybe there's a problem with Vlad's individually, but as a part of a buildup of Helm of Overlord, I thought it was perfectly fine. Pavis, -2 second cooldown. Alright. Boy, these are some baby nerfs. Casual Vlad's don't support a thing anymore. Not until like super late game. Typically it's not. Ancient Apparition. Damage per second. They needed a nerf Ice Vortex. It was doing a bit too much damage. Still the same amount of damage in the first 2 levels, really. -2 damage is kind of whatever. Ice Blast only lasts 10 seconds now instead of scaling per level. Okay. Bristleback nerf. Yes. Max damage decreased from 550 to 500. I mean, that's pretty massive considering the fact that this hero is all about getting to max damage quill sprays. Damage threshold increase on Bristleback, and it lowers. It scales down, which is good. Because now people will have less of an excuse to go for this 4-4-1 dumb build. Now they lower the threshold, so you can't just abuse the Bristleback 1 level that way, which is, while interesting, and like whoever, I think it was Collapse, found that out, like, cool mechanic thing, well done, but it's dumb. Hairball cast range decreased. Yeah, this thing was way too good at catching heroes. Now that it applies 2 goo instead of 2 quills. Way too good at catching heroes. 1,000 is still pretty far, but it makes it a lot more of a teamfight spell. I feel like it should be more of a teamfight spell, but whatever. Increase the cooldown, I guess. And decrease the quill spray stack damage at level 20. Okay. That's probably one of the biggest nerfs we'll see in this patch. Base damage decreased by 5. Lifesteal penalty against creeps increased from 40% to 70%. So he not only hits way less harder in lane, but he also can't perma lifesteal off of creeps, which was so dumb about Chaos Knight. You just couldn't kill this. You had to 100-0 this hero, but this hero had a ton of HP. You can't poke at him because he just easily out lifesteals whatever damage that you poke him with. Mana cost increased on Phantasm. Okay. Cooldown increased on Shadow Realm. So now when you get all of the items, I presume it's not perma. It's still a very small window. If you get Octarine plus the tier 4 cooldown reduction, might help. But it's probably still down to like a second or maybe 2. But I have to imagine it's very small window from perma Shadow Realm. Dazzle no longer affects any blink dagger 3-second mute period after taking damage. Good. It was a pretty dumb part of Dazzle. It was a big reason why his like Tinker bullshit worked. Was because you would put damage on him, but just like Tinker, he would just like rearm, blink out sort of thing. So, ish dumb. Multi-shot from Drow Ranger, -2 seconds of cooldown, whatever. Cooldown now begins when the current roll is completed. So they didn't change anything about him being invulnerable. They just decreased, or they increased the cooldown by like a half a second or more. That doesn't feel very long. Roll speed 1000. Roll speed 1600. The window of the rolling and the roll is like, I mean, it's a significant longer cooldown if you point blank roll somebody or you roll to somebody close by with a stone. That's like a very fast roll, so your cooldown's gonna start much faster. But like if you slow roll max duration or max range roll, it's really not that big of a nerf. When rolling over a stone remnant, the speed increases 1600 in total distance, taking 0.94 seconds to roll the full distance. So if you don't hit anything, it's nerfing the Earth Spirit roll cooldown by 1 second. Or sorry, opposite. Yeah, sorry. When you hit something instead of max range rolling. Wait, what am I saying? Doesn't stop till after you're done rolling. Yeah. So it's the long roll that got nerfed. Jesus. I don't like the fact that he can still perma-stun you, basically. But I guess. I don't know, man. This hero's still, like, he's got a near perma update. Like, if you get all of the fucking cooldown reduction stuff and you get the talent, you like, he hits you for 2.3 seconds and you then has another one up in half a second later, you know? It's like, what the fuck? I don't know, man. Don't think that's going to be enough. I mean, the heart nerf affects him. Maybe the Midas nerf affects him. But this, I don't know, man. This isn't enough. See, cooldown reduction on Enigma's Black Hole. Whatever. Aghanim's Shard spell lifesteal now has 20% penalty against creeps. Okay. That's fair, I guess. You're probably lifestealing too much. When you jumped on a hero in the middle of a creep wave and got to pop it for all that damage, yeah, it was probably too much. That's fair. There's a lot of times I used it on creep waves, and just the damage over time would give me like a significant bump in HP. Rocket damage bump to Gyrocopter. Anytime they buff up Rocket Barrage, that buffs up not just Rocket Barrage, but the missile too. If you're support Gyrocopter. So, always dangerous to buff this ability. Because otherwise, support Gyrocopter comes back. Support Gyrocopter's pretty fucking cancerous. When it's good, it's... ugh. Bonus damage increase on Omni Slash. Okay, whatever. Damage delayed decrease from 45% to 35%. Okay, that's good. Didn't it used to be like 55%? Tidal wave damage decreased by 70. They didn't decrease the amount of range that it pushes you, though. That's the problem with it, is like how much it pulls you out of the way into Torrent Storm, which not only lasts 4 seconds and the cooldown's 5 seconds longer, but like it's effectively, it's gonna have the same impact in these team fights. I'd learn for gyro. Listen, you don't need to learn for gyrocopter. Can you hit the W key? If you can hit the W key, congratulations. You can now play support gyrocopter. That's it. That's the whole fucking kit and caboodle of that hero right there. I've played support gyrocopter probably less than 10 times, and I am a perfectly acceptable support gyrocopter at my MMR. Anytime I've played it, I'm just like, yeah, this hero plays itself. It's by far one of the most brain dead supports. So, if you have an interest in playing that, don't be scared by the learning curve. Don't be scared by it, okay? Just you see this? Boop. That's gyrocopter. This is gyrocopter. And then sometimes this. And then this. And then this. And then you do it again. That's it. That's the hero. Leshrac Lightning Storm increased. The slow increased by 0.2 seconds on the last level. I mean, these are some minor changes, but the heroes, there's still a blade mail problem. There's still going to be a heart problem. So the heroes that suffer against this are still going to have a problem, you know? You're going a little too fast. Can you do it again? I'm sorry. You're going to have to... somebody clip that moment, and then you can watch back the clip on 0.25 playback speed. There you go. Sorry. Cast range increased on Lion. Cool. So he has much better ways to initiate team fights. This hero's initiation was kind of shit. The thing is that Lion, that 500 is not actually 500. The Earth Spike goes longer than it has a cast range, but it goes farther than the cast range. With the default cast range, it has a max travel distance of 850. Does it go that far? I felt like it was somewhere around like the 750. I didn't think it went 850. The Spike's max travel distance is based on cast range plus the range buffer, which it has. So it has a buffer of 275. Wow. Okay. So that is actually pretty significant. To add an extra 75 cast range onto this, because so now it's going to go 650 and then it goes another 275 past that. So you will not have as many Blink Dagger. Like Lion's going to be a lot more effective at starting fights without Blink Dagger. Yeah, no buff to the suck. I mean, let's be real. The suck is strong enough as it is. We can see that play from Sir Action Slacks and how he wins us all those party queue games because of the effectiveness of the suck. You can't buff it anymore. So this change is definitely going to feel pretty good. There's still a problem of Finger of Death doing 1/4 of a hero's damage instead of 1/2 because of strength heroes and hearts. That's still a problem. Strength attributes still give the same amount of HP. Heart really didn't get nerfed that much. Blade Mail is still the same. Aghanim Scepter for some of these heroes is still the same. So, like, the stats are still there. So, like, 735, they probably, if I had to guess, as it stands right now, they're probably going to nerf strength heroes or heart again. Because I don't see much changing right now. My gut is telling me this doesn't change much. So it just means remember these kind of heroes next patch. Sadly. Base agility increased. Agility gain, that's a pretty significant agility gain. Because Lycan does a lot of right clicking, right? Obviously. So cast range increased 700 to 1,000. It's whatever. Marcy's another hero that I think feels pretty good. She's just bad against Blade Mail. So once Blade Mail becomes non-meta and heroes are not as tanky, I think Marcy's actually really good. Hero still does insane amount of damage. I could see it when I play these like offlane Marcy's and stuff. When I play it, I'm still tearing through these heart heroes. It's just I kill myself first on Blade Mail. So if that's not a heart hero, the hero's just gone. Or if it doesn't have a Blade Mail, then I could keep going and not kill myself on it. Muerta nerfs. They have to nerf the calling. It's a crazy good ability. Hopefully they did not. Okay, they nerfed the movement speed, which is nice. The problem is that if you have it scale up, that's correct. It should scale upwards and not just have a flat percent. But I felt more strongly about. I mean, you'll be able to get out of it and not touch the ghosts as much. Oops. You'll be able to not get hit by the ghosts a lot easier now on the lower levels in laning phase against the calling. And I guess this does hurt carry Muerta more. But yeah, I'm glad they nerfed the duration. But the other thing was the attack speed slow. I felt was too strong. I think they should have nerfed it 10 here and have it go 20, 40, 50. 20, 30, 40, 50. That would have been my personal call. But, you know, having this scale, that's probably good. I think like when you're a support Muerta, the thing is that I'm looking at this from a support Muerta aspect. Support Muerta looks the same to me. Like maybe it's a little less strong in lane, but you're still going up to 8 seconds, which the difference between 8 seconds and 10 seconds is probably nothing in most team fights, right? In 90 to 95% of team fights that you play out, the extra 2 seconds won't matter. And you'll be maxing it out first as an ability anyway. So this nerf doesn't do anything except for the laning phase. So heroes worse at laning, but otherwise effectively the same, I think, as a support. Necrophos. Added mana cost to Ghost Shroud. Heartstopper. I mean, this hero is entirely based around Heartstopper right now. So any nerf that they do to this is going to affect the hero a decent amount. 1 second left, less on the duration. Aghanim Scepter health regen 2 decay decreased by 5%. 5%? Okay. I mean, 5% damage nerf might slow down the hero a little bit. This is the only, I mean, shit, this, who knows? This hero might build this, but like this, again, pretty small nerf. So There's no Boots of Travel nerf in here. So, I don't know. I think it's still a thing. I think it's still playable for sure. Deathseeker is like, I think this one's a pretty decent nerf, but a lot of team fights he's only going to use it once, right? There are definitely some team fights where he jumps in with Deathseeker and he lives through the entire fight, and then he uses Deathseeker to like jump away or something like that. That's definitely a thing. Or chase down that final hero. Mana cost increased 90 on all levels. Pulverize increased the cooldown. And that is for the best. And then they nerfed this talent. This talent was broken, man. It still is basically your entire BKB. If you're a carry and are reliant on BKB, you're playing against Primal Beast in late game, you BKB, he BKBs, he grabs you, there's your BKB done. Even at 67%. Because it was going from, what, 3 seconds to 6 seconds? So now it's going from the 3 seconds to 5 seconds. Kind of the same as far as BKB is concerned, right? But, I mean, good nerf. Damage amplification buffed up another 5%. Avery is salivating right now. Shadow Shaman buff. Oh, baby. Oh. Spectre base armor decreased by 1. I just realized they didn't touch Luna, which Luna is one of the climbing heroes of the patch. I think people are figuring out that shard is like pretty decent. Nerf to Spirit Breaker. So alongside Necrophos and Kunkka, this hero has got to be like #1 on bounce hit list. So let's see if this is enough. Cooldown increased from 21. 1 second cooldown. Nerf. Okay. Aghanim Scepter cooldown increased from 8 seconds to 9 seconds. 1 second nerf. Damage multiplier against creeps decreased from 1.5x to 1.3x. So one of the things that happened with the 5% buff they gave, movement speed to damage, they gave him a 5%, which is like, if you like when the hero uses all of his abilities, use his movement speed to damage, right? So when you give him just a 5%, that's effectively just a full-on like 3 to 4% buff on on his damage at the end of the game, right? The only damage he's doing that is not buffed is right clicks that do not get bashes. Which, you know, who the fuck cares? Most of his damage is coming from all of his fucking bashes stuff. And I guess technically the Nether Strike flat damage that is done. But one of the things that happened is that you could kill creep waves a little bit sooner than you used to. So they're trying to tackle that and see if like that'll slow down his scaling. Plus you add on a second to, you know, all of his charges. So, you know, you nerf his farming skill and you nerf the damage that it does for farming. And then he's not really a heart hero, but he is a Midas hero. I mean, they definitely did a much bigger hit to Bristleback than Spirit Breaker. They tried to nerf core Spirit Breaker more, I guess. But he's probably still one-shotting creep waves as soon as he gets Shadow Blade. Maybe they tested it and like at 20 minutes when he has Shadow Blade, now he in Phase Boots, it doesn't one-shot the creep wave or something at a certain level or something. I have no clue. I would love to know what kind of testing they did to get it exactly that. How to determine exactly what it should be. Stat loss percent increase. So this is a hero that like technically checks a lot of boxes for this patch, right? It's a strength hero. It does percentage based damage against strength heroes. It's a blade mail hero. You know, like there's a lot of things about it. I still can't believe that they didn't give him a button to reactivate his Aghanim Scepter. That for me was something that was like very obviously missing, and like the buff that maybe they thought it would be too good, like he would have too much burst damage, but the uncontrollable aspect of his shield and the offensive use of it, I think, is so limited because they're giving all these other heroes more manual control over their abilities, like Wraith King, right? You can now pop reincarnation whenever you want. I feel like this is a no-brainer. Like, if I'm a Timbersaw player, I would take that, nerf the shield. That's fine. You can nerf, like, the max amount of damage that it can hold or whatever, the max amount of shield. You can nerf that, but, like, just give me the option to control it so I can use it offensively. But, you know, 3% is pretty significant when the hero has 8,000 HP, so might be enough to push him into the meta a little bit. Mana cost decreased for Tiny. I don't want to see Tiny buffs. The hero's always a thing. I mean, with the tankier you get, in some ways the more necessary repositioning is. And Tiny is one of the repositioning OGs. Right? This is the original repositioner. I mean, really, that's Pudge, but, you know, who the fuck plays Pudge? Treant Protector, 5% movement speed. Since they gave him this free tree pathing, his movement speed is like, he goes pretty crazy because he gets the tree walking movement speed buff when he uses Nature's Grass. So it made him way less clunky as a hero, which is nice. Damage heal per second decreased on Leech Seed. This is biggest when you're at level 2. Level 1 and 2 is where you're going to feel this the most. So, you know, 5 less damage and 5 less heal. That's a 10 HP swing between you and the person you're battling. It's not insignificant. Geminate cooldown increased. So this is to hit support Weaver. I guess it hits carry Weaver too. A bit, but definitely hits support Weaver more, right? Because you go 4-4-1. You leave Geminate attack at level 1. So they're targeting that aspect of Weaver. I'm surprised they didn't nerf a little bit the level 20 talent, but base heal increase. Somebody asked why Wyvern wasn't a thing. The hero still sucks at laning. Stuff like this helps. I mean, that's a big heal buff. Makes level 1 Cold Embrace a lot more value. Just flat 10 HP more per second. But I think the hero's stats are still Garbo. So his laning sucks. Witch Doctor. Damage multiplier against creeps decreased from 2x to 1.5x. Deathward now prioritizes heroes within its attack range over creeps. You can already target Witch Doctor Ultimate. It's just now when you click it, it is automatic. which before you would have to even if you had your Death Ward hotkeyed, it attacks so quickly you would still miss a couple of shots. So now it just automatically hits heroes, which I think is a no-brainer. That one makes sense. It's hard for me to tell exactly how impactful the Paralyzing Cask nerf hits. Like, if you max out Maledict, this hurts a lot more. I assume if you max out Cask and you have level 4, once you get it maxed out, I'm sure it still one-shots the creep wave. Or at least comes pretty close to it. But this'll definitely hurt Witch Doctor quite a bit when it comes to farming speed on this hero, which I think is pretty fair. And if you nerf, like, nerfing supports farming speed actually hurts a lot more in this patch than most other patches, right? Because everybody's able to everybody can hit a neutral camp. Like, I feel so much better if I'm a support that hits a neutral camp because there's a billion of them on the map. So there's always some farm that you can get when you're a support and you're just AFKing behind a core. You can always be hitting a neutral camp. So if you're a support that hits neutral camps, it's value, I think. So, but yeah, like Priscilla is saying, now when you go, like, if you max out Maledict, you only have 2 levels Paralyzing Cask. Like, maybe you don't kill the hard camp creep, like, nearly as fast. You can't, like, just one-shot it with the Cask anymore. What heroes did you also want to see buffed? Clockwork. Didn't buff Clockwork, man. Feels bad, man. Yeah, Witch Doctor spammers are still gonna be all over the place because it's one of the only supports that can carry a game right now. Because it's one of the only supports that has an impact on heart carries and blade mail heroes, because you don't return damage onto your hero through Death Ward, and your pure damage, like, if you get to channel, it doesn't matter if they have a fucking heart. Pure damage cuts any hero down to size. Skeleton damage decreased by 3. So they didn't revert the extra damage you're getting out of the... For me, like, a big part of this is the bonus damage that you do to heroes mixed in with the talents. They didn't nerf any of the talents and stuff. Maybe we'll see less Bristleback. Necrophos and Chaos Knights win rates will drop down a bit. Carry Willow's not going to be as viable. Maybe one of these weird heroes, you'll start seeing them, like support Gyrocopter. Maybe you'll see more Lion, or who the fuck knows, Shadow Shaman, maybe Timber Saw. Maybe that hero's going to start showing up. Maybe a little less support Weaver, but the same amount of carry Weaver, I assume. Maybe less Spirit Breaker, maybe. But even then, I feel like the Spirit Breaker, like, you're still gonna see. I think you're still gonna see him just as much. It's just like Spirit Breaker. The problem is this hero and how it's affected can still be run core or support. When you can run it in either role, it means that you're a lot more accepting of nerfs, right? So, I don't know. I think this is a pretty small patch. And there will not be any drastic meta changes from this. Like, I think there are going to be meta changes, but that, I think, is more natural, like the ebb and flow of Dota, and, like, certain things are overpowered, but then you remember certain heroes are, like, really good, and, like, you know, there's just naturally an evolution that happens at every patch in the meta. I think you're still gonna, like, the patch is still gonna change over time, but I really don't think this patch is necessarily a big driver of that.